From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Well, that heat wave has arrived as expected and as advertised even since last week. And you know what? Today's not the hottest. In fact, it gets even hotter over the weekend. In fact, that's when the heat wave will peak. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday. Now, there could be potential for some record-breaking heat, but not for everyone. We'll get into that here in a second. And next week, yeah, the good news is we're going to see those temperatures drop, so it won't be quite as hot. So we've got all these heat advisories and the excessive heat warnings. Bottom line, it's this weekend. That's when we expect those hottest temperatures. But of course, we saw those today. We'll see them again for Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday for many of us before we really see a bigger drop in our temperatures for around Tuesday, Wednesday. There's a look at your valley forecast for your Saturday. Yes, we're getting up to 110 plus. Chico about 110, 111 for Red Bluff, and Redding about 113 degrees. How about the mountains for your Saturday? Well, over 100 degrees, I think, for many of us in the mountains. So places like Mount Shasta City, 103, as well as Etna, 101 for Alturas. Take out to Susanville, 103, 102 for Bernie, 103 for Paradise. So it's hot, even in the mountains. Now, the average high is 100 degrees for Redding. We're going to be well above that, even into Monday with a high of about 107. Now, see how the temperatures are dropping, but we're still above normal. But even though we are going to see an uptick in our temperatures toward the end of next week, it's not going to be quite the 113, 112 that we're going to see this weekend. So yes, it does get a little bit warmer, but not a major heat wave. All right, let's talk about those highs. Now, the record high for Redding at the airport over the weekend, Saturday is 116, Sunday is 117. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that over the weekend. By the way, that seemed to be 1972, which was a pretty hot year, obviously. Now, Mount Shasta City, honestly, these records seem easy to break, especially when we look at the highs that we're going to see for over the weekend. So the record for Mount Shasta City is in the upper 90s for Saturday and Sunday. And I think we're going to break both those records, both of those days. And Alturas, it's going to be close, but not quite. You can see about 103 degrees is that record for in 1917. We're going to be about 2 degrees shy of that for your forecast tomorrow. For Sunday, the record high is 102. We'll be about 2 degrees shy of that as well. So we'll be just shy of that. In Susanville, well, you can see on Saturday, we will break it by about 4 degrees. I think that'll be pretty easy. However, on Sunday, we're just barely going to break that record based on the forecast here. So, yeah, we got some record-breaking heat, but it's mainly going to be in the mountains. The valley, that won't be the case. So there's the peak of the heat wave. This is something I've been talking about. This is a graphic and a map I've been showing since last week, illustrating that we've got the bubble and dome of heat over us this weekend. But by next week, that heat will shift eastward thanks to this area of low pressure and cooler air and another reinforcing shot of colder air, kind of keeping it down to the south and east. Now, the thing is, by around Tuesday, that's when it starts to really kind of move down to the south and east. But by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, that dome of heat, what it's going to do is expand. Now, it's not necessarily going to move over us, but as it builds and gets stronger and expands, that means our temperatures increase, but just by a few degrees, nothing major. And essentially what's happening is this. You've got the colder air to our north and west, a trough of low pressure right here, the big ridge of high pressure, which is where the heat is. The two of them are, in a sense, playing a game of tug of war. Sometimes one wins out over the other, and we see temperatures fluctuate as a result. Temperatures go up when we start to see that heat begin to kind of take over, but then the temperatures begin to drop as we start to see the cooler air begin to take over. All right, so we take a look at the monsoon moisture. That's the next thing we've got to keep our eyes on. Because especially as we go into Sunday and Sunday night into early Monday morning, we're going to have the flow around that ridge of high pressure just right that's going to transport monsoon moisture over Northern California. Now, I think we could see a chance for some thunderstorms in the mountains come Sunday and Monday, but mainly for the southern Cascades and northern Sierra. So we're talking eastern mountains, maybe, just maybe in places like Siskiyou County. But we'll have to kind of watch that as we go into Sunday. And then, of course, as we go into Monday, Tuesday of next week, that's all pretty much gone. If you're heading out to the Trinity County Fair, my suggestion to you is, yeah, probably not a bad idea to do it in the evening or in the early morning hours. But if you do need to be outside during the day and want to go to the fair during the day, know that you can go in the shade and cool yourself off and make sure that you have plenty of water. Hydrate yourself. So just some quick heat safety tips if you are going to be out and about over the weekend. Here you can see, of course, as I mentioned, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, apply your sunscreen. Don't forget about the sunscreen as well, because you don't want to get sunburned. Wear lightweight, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing, and if the opportunity presents itself, takes regular breaks in the shade. Shade can be a great asset when you're talking about this kind of heat. Here's what we have in store for us overnight. Temperatures upper 50s to low 60s for the valley, and in the mountains, mainly in the 50s. Even along the coast, we're in the mid-50s. Now for tomorrow, well, here you go. It's 110 degrees plus in the valley for most of us. You can see about 108 for Willows, 109 for Oroville, 110 for Chico, 113 for Redding. And in Shingletown, about 100, 101 for Alturas. You get the idea. I think almost everyone has a chance of seeing 100 degrees or higher, even in the mountains. All right, so let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. And, you know, Mount Shasta, yeah, you're going to get up to about 100 degrees or higher for Saturday and Sunday. But look at that. We're back down to the mid-90s by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And there's that slight uptick in the temperatures come Thursday, Friday. Now for Alturas, again, around 100, back down to the low to mid-90s. Really mid-90s on average for Monday through Friday of next week. And for Susanville, over 100 this weekend. Mid to upper 90s through next week. And for the valley, well, yeah, it's going to be hot. There's just no big surprise there. This is what we're expecting. But it is going to drop. We are going to see temperatures drop down. You know, the normal high is about 100. So we're still going to be above that, but at least we're breaking away from the 110 degrees plus through next week.